Hello, everyone. Sorry I've been a little MIA. I normally do my lives on Monday or Tuesday, but I have family in town right now, so it's been a little bit hectic and crazy and a whole lot of fun. But I did want to come in real quick and share with you guys some choking hazards for children. So the CDC, which I will post their link in my comments, they have an entire list of things that children choke on based on age, what is most common, and the things that you should look out for and be most aware of. So I'm just going to hit on a few of them that I have heard from friends, family, and some stories I've read just since I've become a mom that seem to be the most common. And I will post what the CDC says are the most common things for children of different ages so that you have the full context of what to look out for. But some things, as I was looking through the list on the CDC guidelines, are things you wouldn't even think of as being potentially really dangerous. But there are some things that are typically a little more obvious, but in case they're not obvious to you, I'm going to go ahead and name a few right now. So we've probably all heard of hot dogs. Anything that is round and fairly solid can be choked on, especially the younger children. Between 6 and 12 months is a really, really big one. So they do recommend chopping those up, first cutting them lengthwise, then chopping them up in uneven pieces is what the CDC guidelines recommend. So hot dogs are a big one. And then another one I didn't really think about, but that is fairly popular right now with a lot of kids is string cheese. String cheese is the same shape as a hot dog typically and close to the same diameter. So we really have to be careful about string cheese as well with our little ones who just like to bite into things instead of, doing it the proper way where they peel off a piece of the string cheese. So definitely be aware of that. And then grapes is another huge one, you guys. Grapes, always, always, always cut them at least at the bare minimum, cut them in half. The smaller or younger your child is, obviously, and the less equipped they are with teeth to chew and the knowledge of, not choking on things, definitely cut them smaller and smaller for those little ones who don't have all that experience yet. So grapes are a very, very big one because they're firm, right? So they're kind of hard to bite into in the first place. And a lot of kids, when they're eating, they're not paying attention and they just, especially if they're watching TV at the same time or there's family members talking, they may swallow before they've fully chewed their food. So grapes are a huge one. Along with that same shape are grape and cherry tomatoes that are not cut up. So be aware of that. Let me look at my list here. Oh, flat balloons. You guys, I read a story, not to scare anyone, but no, it wasn't a story. I'm sorry. It was a friend of mine. Forgive me. Who had a sibling who choked on a flattened balloon at a birthday party. And it did not end well, you guys. So definitely be aware of those balloons. Of course, when they're blown up, obviously a lot less dangerous, at least for choking on. But when they're flattened, they can definitely get lodged in the throat. So be mindful of that, especially because we take our kids to a lot of birthday parties and celebrations and things. So not to make you paranoid, but definitely keep an eye out for that. Batteries, especially button batteries, the little ones that go in watches and things, those can be easily choked on or swallowed and definitely not good, even if they don't choke on it, not good for it to be in their system. Marshmallows, you guys, very hard to chew even as an adult, right? And hard candies, caramels, gummy bears that are they get kind of sticky, all those things, and as well as hard fruits, so things that are more firm like strawberries, cherries, things of that nature. And then don't forget about canned fruits. You guys, canned fruits are very slippery, and so it makes them more dangerous to accidentally swallow them before they've been fully chewed. So definitely pay attention to that as well. And there are there's a whole list of things, but those are some of the most common. And as well as nuts. Almonds, cashews, all of those are peanuts. They're all round or big enough to choke on for small children. So definitely chop those up very small if you're giving them to your children. and maybe even soak them a little bit so they're a little softer and easier to chew. That's another thing you can do for them. So I just wanted to point those things out, you guys. I know this this is kind of one of those topics where you don't really want to think about it because it's terrible to think that your child could ever choke, but definitely important. Thank you. Hi, Tina. Definitely important to know and to remember these things because, you know, a lot of times we don't even consider, because we're obviously, as adults, we're so used to eating and chewing our food properly that we don't even think about the things that could be dangerous to our children. Also, they recommend on the cdc.gov website to have your child be seated, not lying down, obviously, because it's easier to choke. And also to try to have them in a situation where they're paying attention to eating and not, you know, fiddling around with whatever else, a toy or playing with something else while they're eating. And that will help them to pay attention, chew enough before they swallow, and hopefully prevent any type of choking. Now, of course, you guys, it's important to know about the Heimlich maneuver for babies and toddlers. It is rather hard to perform on such a small little human being, which is why, and I have not used it, but I have this device in my household. It's called the D-Choker, and I'll post about that below so you can see what it is. But I personally just felt like I wanted one more tool in my household in case something went wrong. One more thing that could potentially save their life. You can look into it for yourself. I believe it's a private company that makes this device, but they have different sizes for babies, toddlers, older children and adults. And I just felt like, you know, there's never enough you can do to keep your children safe. So I went ahead and purchased those just to have on hand because you just never know. So thank you guys for joining me this evening, and please comment below any questions you have or comments. Let me know where you're watching from, and I will